And that's all the questions we have so far. So I'm going to jump into today's presentation. So we're going to talk about an advanced SEO topic about how to build links. So over the last 3 or 4 weeks, we've had presentations around technical SEO and making sure your website's like in good shape. We've talked about keyword research, and we've also talked about how to turn that keyword research into actual content that you publish on your website. So today is more about how to build links to your web page from other websites to help build your authority and build your trust in Google's eyes, to help improve and boost your rankings in Google. This session is brought to you as part of the ASBAS Digital Solutions Program. ASBAS is a digital advisory service providing direct education and mentorship from digital experts to assist with small Australian businesses to help build their digital capabilities. Businesses are able to access a series of webinars and workshops, which you're sitting in right now, which are now being delivered virtually with COVID-19 restrictions in Victoria. The program also includes 2 hours of tailored mentoring and a whole suite of online materials within a portal that you can access at any time to see past trainings or to actually get text content about the different topics around digital marketing and digital solutions for your business. I really encourage everyone to go and make sure that they use the 2 hours of free one-on-one mentoring that they get. You can access them via the portal. So I'll just grab you that link there and I'll drop this in the chat. If for whatever reason you don't have access to that portal, email asbas@melbourneinnovation.com.au and they'll help you get your access back. If you're not sure what your password is, click forgot password and use the same email account you used to sign up to ASBAS with, and you should be able to get your access reset that way. I suggest that you, from the workshops that you do, that you try and implement as much as possible that the mentors have taught you during those workshops, and then wherever you get stuck, then maybe choose that mentor that suits your needs and can help you sort of push you that last little bit through wherever you're having issues with. So my name is Brett Melville. I'm the founder and owner of digital marketing agency Digital Treasury. We help businesses design websites that explain to people who are browsing their website who they are and what they do and how they can get that product or service that they sell. And then we rank those websites in Google to attract more organic traffic to those websites to help build awareness to potential customers that business exists and that they can help them with whatever it is they need. If you would like, the best way to follow me is to check out my LinkedIn account and just look for Brett Melville. And I'm actually one of the mentors as well for this program. So if you are stuck on your website or if you're stuck on SEO type of issues, feel free to book in a time with me and we can have a chat about the problems that you're having in a mentoring session for 2 hours. So in terms of today's training session, what we're going to talk about is, because this is basically the final of a 3-part series around SEO. So we have done SEO basics as sort of a 2 to 3 hour session going through the whole end-to-end SEO process. Over the last 3 to 4 weeks, I think it's been, we're actually going through, we've actually split that up into miniature sessions. So if this is your first SEO session, I'll just do a quick recap for you at the start and we'll go through the SEO basics. We'll talk about the technical and keyword research quickly and then how to write content with those keywords. And then we'll move into today's topic, which is around how to build links to your website. So in terms of the SEO basics, so SEO is also known as search engine optimization. So it's basically the practice where you're trying to improve your site or your website or different web pages on your websites where they come up in the organic search results. So SEO is done by trying to figure out the different factors that search engines like Google use to determine rankings, and then by enhancing those web factors on and off your web page. So by doing SEO, it's really going to increase your chances of your website being found, and then your website being found by consumers that are actually interested in buying the actual products or services that you sell. Linton's saying, I'm having trouble logging in. It has been thinking since about 11 a.m. I'm not sure what your issue might be there, Linton, but just bear with us. So in terms of organic search engine results, we're talking about these results here that come up in Google when you search for a specific keyword, and it's these free results that come up in these search engine rankings. So it's also, SEO is concerned with the organic local or map listings, which you might start seeing when you do your search, when you conduct searches that include like a location. So whether it's a country, a city, or a suburb that you may be operating in, to get your business higher up in the rankings there, you have to do some local SEO. What we're not talking about today is ads or Google AdWords, which are these ads that you sometimes see right at the top of the search engine result. So we're not going to be talking about pay-per-click advertising or Google Ads today. We're going to focus on these two bits here, just organic SEO, where we can manipulate elements of our webpage to try and rank higher. So why should you bother doing SEO for your business? Well, every single day, there's over 300 million searches conducted by people in search engines like Google, like Bing, like Yahoo, of people that are actually looking for information. They're looking for products and they're looking for services. So without implementing some sort of basic SEO strategy for your business, it's unlikely that you're really going to rank well or come up in search engines by those potential customers. There was a study done last year by Salesforce, which showed 87% of consumers searched online prior to making a purchasing decision. So even if they went into a physical store to buy something eventually, they started their research point online. So I would say to you, like, would it make sense for your business to show up in search engine results and be that person or be that business educating a consumer about a certain product that you sell? And I think you know what I'm thinking in terms of the answer. So in terms of SEO for your business, why would you bother do it? So SEO is an effective way for you to generate more traffic to your website, for your website to then generate more inquiries, for those inquiries to lead into sales, and for this to be a really efficient marketing spend for your business to get good ROI on. So typically in terms of SEO, we talk about an agency process that looks something like this, where we start off with a technical audit of the website from an SEO's perspective. We correct any errors we find. We set up Google Search Console and Google Analytics. We identify any quick wins that we can have from the information we can get from those two analytical tools. We then research different keywords that our customers are actually typing into Google. From the list of keywords we find, we prioritize keywords that we want to target. We create and optimize content on our website. So we might have to publish more content if we're not covering topics well. And then we need to build links to those pages, which is what we're going to talk about in more depth today. And then we need to track and monitor any results of any actions we've taken in terms of our SEO, whether it is creating content or whether it is building links. So today we're going to talk about in much more detail how to build links. But first, I want to just give you a recap in case people are here for the first time around what we've talked about over the last 3 weeks with the previous 2 sessions. So the first session we talked about was technical SEO and keyword research. So in terms of technical SEO, what we're trying to do here is we're trying to make your website, not your easy, trying to make your website as easy as possible for Google to crawl. So if your website's got a lot of errors on it from a code point of view, it makes it really difficult for Google to crawl through your website and to actually understand what your content is about. So we basically want to make it as easy as possible. The common errors that I've seen from mentoring sessions that I've done with a few people is that they have really slow loading pages. So a browser has a really poor experience when they come to their website because it might take 5, 6, 7, 10. We even had someone who had a site that was loading in 22 seconds come through in a mentoring session a couple of months ago. So you really need to focus on making sure you've got a fast loading website. The main problem we see in that space is that people have really large images and much larger than they need. So maybe you've taken a really great photo on an SLR camera, for example, and the resolution of that image is 4,000 by 3,000, and then the size of that image is therefore maybe 3, 4, 5, 6 megabytes. You really want to try and aim to have your images under 200 kilobytes. So to do that, you would try and reduce the size of the image, so scale it down before you upload it. And then you also want to apply different compression programs. So there was a free one we mentioned in that training called Tiny PNG. You also want to make sure that you don't have any broken links on your web page. So where you're linking to maybe a website that doesn't exist anymore, or maybe internally within your website there's broken links. So we talked about a broken link checker within there. You want to make sure you have a secure website with an SSL certificate. So it says, HTTPS in the full address at the top of your URL bar. You want to make sure that there's only one version of the site accessible. So for example, if you just go and type your URL in, and instead of putting the HTTPS, :// in your domain name, if you just type in, for my business, www.digitaltreasury.com.au, does the website correctly redirect to the proper website address, or does it serve a version of your website that's at a www address? You need to also make sure that you've got a sitemap on your website. So a sitemap, what it'll do, it'll be really easy for Google to crawl and see where all the different pages are and where all the different posts are, like a blog post or a news post or something on your web page. So it makes it really easy for Google to crawl through your website and find the different content that you have. Another common mistake I see is that people have in their images, they don't have alt text. So alt text is a descriptive bit of information that you can put behind an image and it helps Google understand what's the content of this image, and then it helps Google relate that to the topic of the page where that image sits. So they're the common technical SEO problems that we talked about in that. So you want to make sure that your website's on a good foundation and it's got like a clean setup. The next step that we talked about was keyword research. So basically, keyword research is back solving or trying to figure out what consumers or real people are actually using as words or search terms or keywords in Google to find businesses with products or services that you sell. So the first step of keyword research, we talked about brainstorming some seed keywords of what you think customers will use to find your business. And then using software tools, what we did was we took those seed keywords and we did a deeper dive into other keywords that are being used by consumers that we could try and include in our content to try and rank for those keywords. So at the end of doing keyword research, we actually came up with a large list of keywords that our business would want to target in terms of search words that users are using. So a seed keyword might be, if I was a local plumber in Cheltenham, I would assume that my consumers or my customers are looking for like plumber Cheltenham. So I would use that as a seed keyword, and then I would enter that into software tools to expand on that to see if there's any other keywords that people in Cheltenham are looking to or that are related to plumbers in Cheltenham. So it might be things like, block drain plumber Cheltenham, emergency plumber Cheltenham, etc. If you miss that training, a really quick, and you don't have access to software tools, a really quick way to do keyword research is to actually use Google's auto suggest. So in this example here, I've typed in landscape gardeners Melbourne, and instead of pressing enter, I just press spacebar. And you can see here, it's come up with, I think that's 8 different suggestions of other keywords that are similar to landscape gardeners Melbourne. And we can filter through to see which of these are useful to us. So if our business isn't in the eastern suburbs and we more service northern and western suburbs, we might decide to create landing pages to try and rank for northern suburbs and western suburbs. But because we know we don't service southeastern suburbs, we can sort of eliminate them off our list. Landscaping Melbourne jobs, unless we randomly had a landscape gardening job recruiting agency or something, you can also sort of make calls around keywords. Is this relevant to my business? And I think someone who is looking for a landscaping Melbourne jobs is not necessarily the kind of traffic that we want to attract if we had a landscape garden business in Melbourne. The next piece of training that we did after that first session was how to turn your keywords into the actual content for publishing on your website. So we talked about looking in the Google results themselves and just observing the different factors that people were including in their website content. So, what did they have in the title? So this blue part of their web page. What did they have in the description? This bit under the blue title. What are they using as their URL? Like, was it the home page or was it a blog page? So you can see these two are home pages and this one's actually an internal page. So what type of content is ranking for those actual search terms that we're putting in? What's the intent of that content? So if I change that search from home builder Melbourne, and it seems to be like a lot of companies that build houses, and then if I change that keyword, the type of content ranking changes dramatically. So if I write in best home builder in Melbourne, and this is something you want to rank for, you can see here that the type of articles that are coming up are the 20 best home builders in Victoria, Melbourne's top 10 home builders, the 12 best custom home builders in Melbourne. Okay, so you can see the content is very different by just including one extra word with best at the start of this keyword. So you would have to have a very different piece of content to just maybe your homepage or a page talking about Melbourne if you wanted to rank for this term. The other thing we mentioned was what on-page elements you should be looking for in your competitors and what you should be optimizing yourself. So we talked about the actual content, so the body of what we're writing, what's in the URL, what's in the meta title and meta description, what's in the header tags, what was in the image tags, internal and external links on pages, making sure your website was mobile responsive, and making sure that your loading page speed was up to scratch. And I sort of aim for that under 2.5 second mark if you're using a tool like Pingdom to test that. So did anyone have any questions on the recap of the first couple of training sessions? Are we all good with that? Just drop your questions into the chat. Just getting back to a few questions that I missed. So Susie says, I have a day spa and accommodation in Dalesford. Welcome, Susie. Suzanne says, I have a Shopify store with App Booster app for SEO, so I'm interested in what else I can do, or does this app do all I need? It should do, Suzanne. Suzanne said, yep, that was me with 102 plugins in WooCommerce site. It was taking 22 seconds to load. I had to dump it and create Shopify. Yep, good idea. Yeah, that's the problem with WooCommerce. You can need too many plugins. If you can keep it basic, it's okay, but the plugins can really bloat out a WordPress site. Anna says, all good. So if there's no other questions, I'll keep cracking into what today's training is based around. It's around how to build links to your actual web page. So what is link building? So link building is basically the process where you're trying to acquire hyperlinks from another website that's not yours to your website. So from a Google perspective and from an algorithm perspective, which is trying to rank all the different pages that are around the world and on the internet, links act as kind of like a vote for your web page. So the more votes you have from better and higher authority web pages, the more favorable you look in Google's eyes. And links are going to boost basically your online authority and show that you're a real company. You've got a real website. You really exist. So from a link building perspective, you want to try and build links where you can from high authority websites or websites that are really, really relevant to your industry or your business or your professional. So they're in the same sort of area. So why do you need to do link building? So since the beginning of Google's algorithm, links have been an important factor that has helped them decide which websites to rank. There was a study done by Backlinko, and it was revised earlier this year, actually, and they assessed hundreds of thousands of first page rankings, and they got the data on the average number of backlinks. So you can see across the bottom of that chart, they've got Google position 1 to 10, and the average number of backlinks on position number 1 was around 35,000. So this does not mean that you need to go and build 35,000 links of high quality links to your web page. But the more competitive your industry is, what you find is the more links those number 1, 2, and 3 positions have. Now, I'm not saying that you can't rank a website without links, but having links and good content is really going to push you to the top quicker. So that content is from Backlinko if you want to go check out that piece of information. But basically what you need to know is that backlinks are a really important ranking factor when Google's deciding which website sits in 1, which website sits in 5, 10, 20, 50, 100. So what is a link? So a link from a hypertext document to another location activated by clicking on a highlighted word or image. So this is when you are in a web page and there is either a text or a image sometimes, and you click on that hyperlink and it takes you to another page. So below is an example of a text hyperlink that is using the anchor text Free SEO Tips Australia. So this is actually a link that I have from an article on another web page, which links to my article called on digitaltreasury.com.au/SEO-Australia, and that says Free SEO Tips Australia. If you go and Google search SEO Australia, you will find that that article actually ranks usually in the top 3 for that specific term. So by including anchor text that is similar to the keywords you want to rank for, that's going to help you rank in Google. And there's a screenshot of the actual article that it sits in. So I wrote an article for a company, not my business, about what are the best free SEO software tools for small businesses that are looking to get started. So the attributes of I guess the next question you need to be asking with your link building. So what are the attributes of a good link? So first of all, you want your links to be from a high authority website, or you want your links to be from a relevant website within your industry or niche or close to it. So it actually relates. Does it make sense for a medical business to be linking to an SEO and website design agency? Not really. But does it make sense for an online marketing forum to be having content from me? Absolutely. The other attributes of a good link is it contains the anchor text with the keyword or variations or very close or similar keywords to the ones that you want to rank for. So for example, the way that it's able to rank brand names is because the majority of the mentions of your business and the links that you're going to get to your business is where people are saying, this article was by Brett from Digital Treasury. And where it says Digital Treasury, it has a hyperlink to my homepage. So that anchor text is a really strong signal to Google about what this page should rank for. So if you've read what an attribute of a good link is, you're probably wondering what is a high authority link. So when we're talking about high authority, just think naturally about trust. So would you rather get a link from The Age or some random blog on the internet? So basically Google's trying to assess and filter out the quality of all the different websites to make a judgment on which backlinks are stronger than others, or which backlinks are better than others, or which backlinks have more authority than others. And they think that is a way of delivering the best results in terms of their rankings. So by your business being able to get links from high authority websites, your website can benefit from having more trust. The problem with these sort of links, like from The Age, for example, is they're extremely hard to get, especially for a small business. How do you get mentioned in The Age, right? So that you can do some PR campaigns, but it's a very difficult process to come up with and to actually get repeatable results. So getting started with link building, like maybe many of you are today, you want to try and get the easiest links first. So to do that, you want to really create a footprint in Google's mind that shows that you're a real business, that shows that you're legitimate, and that shows that there's people talking about you. So the easiest way to do this from a local business perspective that has an address is to go and get your profile set up on Google My Business, Bing Places, and Apple Maps. These are three of the strongest directory or citation type listings that you can get for your business. And because they take verification, you need to get a postcard sent to you from Google My Business to actually get that listing, to verify that your address and your office is real. So that has a lot of weight in it in Google's algorithm to say, if it's comparing two businesses head to head and one has a Google My Business account and the other one doesn't, it's going to place more weight on what the one that does have the Google My Business listing than the one that doesn't. And then you're also getting a link from a Google asset itself. So, think about that. They're going to place a much higher weight on the quality of information coming from there as opposed to any other sources. Bing Places is another good one, and Apple Maps is another one as well. So they're the three that I recommend that everyone who is eligible, so actually has a physical office or retail storefront, to go and claim those places. It's important when you're setting up those local assets off your web page with a link back to your website that you ensure that you keep the name, the address, the phone number, and the URL of your website the same. So these are actually important for your local map listings and how your business ranks in those in the map listings that come up within the searches. So that's that listing that has the map, and then it has 1, 2, and 3 different businesses. And it usually has their name, website, and a call button. So by having many mentions of your website's name, address, phone number, and website all around the internet, it sort of helps Google verify that you're real. It verifies that you exist. When you're completing the fields in these different, with these local assets, make sure you complete all the information that they let you. So remember, from an SEO perspective, we talked about including the keywords that you wanted to rank for. If you want it, so for example, if I wanted to rank for SEO Mentone, I would include SEO Mentone within my descriptions, for example. So, I might say something like, Digital Treasury offers SEO and website design services. We help people complete local SEO in Mentone for all sorts of different industries. And then that way I've included SEO and Mentone within my description and within that asset to help draw that picture to Google that SEO Mentone should be associated with me and my business. So in terms of adding your business to those three assets, I need you to add it to. So Google My Business, Apple Maps, and Bing. The next step after that is to go and add your business to more directories. So you want to ensure that you're using the same name, address, phone number, and URL. You may have noticed I've said this twice and I've put it in yellow twice. So it's very important for those map listings to get those multiple mentions of your business that you exist. Again, complete all the fields that they give you. If it has a description, fill it, and it lets you put in 1,000 characters, write 1,000 characters. Make sure you're including those location-based keywords, like that SEO Mentone example I gave. So then I've got a list here. I'll drop it in the chat so you've got it now if you wanted to start working through it. And this website has a list of Australian citation sites or business listing sites. So this gives you a list of some of the top websites there are. Might be a bit small. Is that better? This gives you a list of the top 50 local citation sites in Australia from their analysis, where they're saying if people have these listings, it's helping their ranking go up. So it's things like, Foursquare, what else we got? TomTom, Compass, TrueLocal.com.au, YellowPages.com.au, Yelp.com.au. We got WhitePages.com.au, HotFrog, Brown Book, Start Local. So if I was you, I would come in here and you click on Go to Site, and then I would go ahead and add your business to this directory. So see what the requirements are. So how do I add myself to this directory? And then click on FAQ help. How do I add myself? That is really weird. It's not sort of very obvious how I actually, get in touch. I'm surprising how hard this website is making it to add yourself in. It's usually like an obvious button. Am I not seeing something? Maybe I'll try another one. Not sure what the story was there. If we go to, let's go to whitepages.com.au. Connect, voice activated, list my business. All right, so we just go to list my business and we just list our business in here and add in all the details that they'd let us add in. So that's one example. Hot Frog, let's go to Hot Frog. And it's got a section up here, add my business. So I'll just follow the steps in here, making sure that I'm including my exact name, address, phone number, and website URL, and that I'm including additional details where it lets me, that has my keywords on it to, help my business come up and help Google relate me. Hong says, I'm at Bright Local site, but I could not see a web list that you can see. If you click on I put the link in the chat. If you click on that, you should be able to find it. Otherwise, I think it's in their footer. Not anymore. Okay. Yeah, but if you click on that link in the chat, Hong, you should be able to get to the Australian citation page. Otherwise, you can search for, if you want more, you can search for Australian citation directories, best or top. You just search for that term. There's a Bright Local page. There's also White Spark's got a page as well. So you can just scour through their lists and go and add yourself. I'll just drop in the chat this one as well, so White Spark. And they're going to have pretty similar pages, to be honest. This one looks to have a few more Australian one, which is good. So local.com.au, Aussie Web, etc. All right, so let's just jump back into the presentation. So in terms of your directory listings, I advise that people go and add themselves to around 10 to 20 of those listings. It's hard to know. You really need to sort of check what your competitors are doing in terms of like what the actual number is. But to start off, I'll go and add yourself to around 10 to 20 of those directory listings from either that White Spark list or that Bright Local list that I dropped the link to in the chat. So then you can also, that's sort of the key directories that you want to, sorry about that. I was sending the links in the chat, so not to everyone. I was sending them to the private. Thanks for that, Susie. I've just sent those 2 links to everyone in the chat. Apologies for that. I've changed my setting. Heather has the same question as Aldona and Helen. So Aldona asked, what if your business doesn't have a physical location? Technically, you'll need to look at the terms and conditions of Google My Business, but technically you're not meant to have one unless you are servicing clients at their location. So maybe you're working from home and maybe you have a business that goes out to people's houses and you don't actually serve from a physical location. So that is the sort of loophole that you can get around. Helen says, is it worth setting up a profile on those 3 map listings if you have a business address, but the business address is not relevant to your business, i.e. you're a service business? Sorry, same question as Aldona. So if you're a service business, you can set a service area. So I'd set a service area. Hopefully that answers your question, Heather, Helen, and Aldona. Can everyone see the links in the chat now to whitespark.ca and brightlocal.com? Did they come through okay? Can someone please confirm? All right, so the next type of directory you want to look for or set yourselves up for is more niche directories. So I'm talking about directories that are directly related to what it is you do. So for example, if you are a plumber, I would try and add my business as a plumbing company to specific plumbing directories. So I could type in, plumbing, and then add in just in a Google search, and then add the word directory, or I could type in the job title. So plumber plus directory. So I'll just show you quickly now. So if I go into Google, and if I just type in plumber and then directory, and maybe Australia as well, see if there's anything locally. So pure local, fixtap.com.au, that sounds like a plumbing directory. Let's have a look at that. So find a plugger, find a plumber even. Yeah. Fix a tap. Doesn't seem to let people add themselves. Okay, maybe that's actually a company as opposed to a plumbing directory. So High Pages is coming up, One Time Plumber, Australia's premium plumbing directory. So we can check that out. Find a plumber, you've come to the right place. Can we add ourselves in? Get your business online with On-Time Media. Okay, so maybe that's like we're more trying to actually sell our details. Plumbersearch.com.au. This looks promising. Australian plumbing directory. Add your business. So we could check out this service here and add our plumbing company in here. I'm not sure if this is paid or not. You might find some of these are, but it can be worth adding your business into these more specific, more niche directories that are relevant. They're going to provide relevance to your website. There's a website called plumbingdirectory.com.au that is talking about plumbing, that is in the plumbing industry, and it is relevant and it is linking to you. So that's gonna help Google trust you around keywords around the topic of plumbing. The other thing you need to think about with niche directories is, are you actually a member of an association that you pay up for? Maybe there's some sort of professional association or some sort of union. And is there a directory relating to that membership that you get? And can you ask or get a link from that membership association or organization? So most member associations these days do have their own member directory. So make sure you're added on there, and make sure, what am I going to say next? Make sure your name, address, phone number, and website URL is the same as your other references or citations around the internet talking about your business. But these links are all going to help put your business ahead of other businesses that haven't bothered to do this or are not a part of that member association, and then maybe shouldn't be as trusted or as credible as maybe you are. Then the next thing you want to think about is, in terms of your business to your local area, is there actually specific directories for where your business is located? So we can do things like, you can look for your local council and maybe check their business economic development part of their webpage, or maybe email the Echo Dev team and just ask them and see if there's a local directory in your area. So I'm in Kingston Council, for example. So I could type in, Kingston Council and then search for business directory and see if anything exists for me. If you don't find anything, maybe ask that local Biz Echo development team, just send them an email and ask them if there's a local directory you can add your business to online. The other way you can do it is you can look for other ones that people have set up. So you might type in your suburb name and then directory to try and find other directories, the council name, so like Kingston Council, or maybe the city name. Maybe there's like a Melbourne directory, or maybe there's like a Bendigo region directory. So just do a little bit of a search around too. So if you can if we can get 10 of those sort of more generic listings to 20, and we can get maybe another 2 or 3 niche directories for our actual industry, and maybe another 2 or 3 local specific directories to our actual area, we're building up a story or a pattern that Google can follow, that Google can understand that you are related to. If it's the plumbing example, you're relating to, you're on plumbing websites, you may be on, a Cheltenham or a Kingston area website, so you have something to do with Cheltenham plumber, and that's an association that it can draw for you. Next thing I suggest, does anyone have any questions on setting up their directory listings and getting their first sort of, hopefully you can get about 20 links, maybe, and even more with that step. Is everyone comfortable around building links from directories now? If you have any questions, do you want to put them in the chat? I'm not seeing any questions, so I'll just keep talking. The next round of links that you want to build to your business are considering adding your business to popular social media platforms to get the profile link, and then also to start adding your posts if the platform allows hyperlinking to your website. So for example, if you were to add a video if you were to create an account on YouTube and add a profile link within YouTube, you could also add a video to YouTube, and within that video, which is sort of, a video is basically the post format for YouTube, you would add a link in the description of that video back to your webpage, and that would sort of count as a link and help get some traffic as well if people are watching your video. So in terms of social media, again, if it allows you to have that name, address, and phone number and website, make sure they're all consistent. So I know Facebook allows you to have an address and phone number on business pages, so make sure it's included there. But the platforms to consider adding your business to, even if you don't really have a social media plan for these in terms of posting regularly, I would definitely suggest adding yourself and getting the links from YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, LinkedIn, Quora, and Tumblr. So by having links from these websites, although they're not relevant to your company, they're really high authority websites. They've got millions and millions of links going to them and millions of people and traffic going to these websites. So from that point of view, they have high authority. So you're building out this really nice picture now that you've got your directory listings set up, you've got your social media profile set up, compared to a company that doesn't have these, what are we up to, probably 30 to 40 links, you're ahead of them. You've done more than them. You exist more. You look more credible. You are more trustworthy from a Google perspective. Suppliers, manufacturers, and people in your network. So what you want to do online with your website in terms of link building is you want to actually represent your real world connections to your business. You want to actually, who in your business is actually, who in your network is actually able to link to you, and who makes sense to link to you from an internet and online marketing perspective as well. So think about the people you have relationships with in your industry. Think about who are your suppliers, maybe who are your manufacturers, who are the wholesalers, who are the different people that you're linked to with your product and service, and can you ask them for a link? Many people that sell products in a store, if you go to the main brand's website, it'll say, here are the stockists. Is your business listed on that stockist page? Is your exact name, address, and phone number and website URL on that website as well, giving you that another bit of credibility that you're a real website, you're a real company that exists in the real world. So think about all those relationships that you actually already have and cement them and solidify them with a link from their website to yours. So if you can ask them for a link, great. Ask them for the link, get that link. The next step that I like to do is can you actually do they have like a news area or a blog section of their webpage? Can you offer to write content for them as a guest, as an industry expert? And within that piece of content, can you maneuver the anchor text to be what you want, to rank for what you want, like I did here in this piece of content here? Okay. So these can be really great opportunities for your business, even if they're not super high authority links. But where you're getting a good sort of nod from Google is typically these links are really, really relevant. They're really, really relevant to what industry you're in or what sort of area of the economy you're in, and can help you rank for all sorts of terms relating to that topic. So are there any ideas coming to people's minds right now with me saying this around suppliers, manufacturers, or people in your network? Why don't you put it in the chat if you've got an example you can share for people? So one example I'll give you from me is that I'm presenting and doing education for Melbourne Innovation Centre as part of the ASBAS program. So I submitted an article for the ASBAS program's blog. So there's one of my articles in there, and that links to a free digital marketing template on my website. So from ASBAS perspective, they got a really nice piece of content that they didn't have to write from an expert. And from my perspective, I got a link back to my website, which is helping that page rank. Are any ideas coming to anyone? Rose is saying, I think I would be inclined to say no because it would take the person away from my page. So you would say no to free content. Okay. Anna, it's not a very good spirit, Rose. Come on. Anna says, yes, I have manufacturers for my product that write short blogs. I could offer to write a short piece as an end user of their extrusion to build signature light boxes. Exactly, Anna. So you could add value to their website by offering a review or, maybe an interesting way to use that product, which provides value to their website and provides value to their blog. And in exchange, you get a link back. Hong says, I've prepared an article for an association on their Facebook page. They mention my company, PPC Urban, but there is no web link to my homepage. I should have asked them to add this in. Yeah, so what you should do, Hong, is you should say, did they get it published? The Facebook link would be okay, but the better link, because, it's relatively easy to get links from Facebook, but if you could ask them to, can they publish that within the blog of that association page or the news feed? And then when they do that, ask them to hyperlink back to your website. Aldona says, I have some great backlinks from Museum of Democracy in Ballarat, which folded a few years back. All the backlinks went to. Yes, that is sad. Rose said, if someone asked to write on my page, Rose, what if that person was the leading expert in your space and they offered to write a really amazing piece of content for your webpage? I think you'd say yes. I know I would. Susie said, I could write an article for our local visitor centre. Exactly. Correct. As a local with an expertise around a certain, around your knowledge. Susie, were you the wine tour person with the dogs? Was that you or was that someone else? Aldona said, sending media releases to local papers and asking them to add your link to the website is a good idea too. Absolutely. So those local, you got to watch some of those local papers though. They try and get you to pay for it as an ad instead. But if you can manage to get some PR, absolutely. If you can get your link from their local website as well as maybe even getting printed, you're going to get some great awareness. So that's where you have to bring in. I guess link building can, really increase your exposure to people as well as getting links. So if there's people reading those other websites, you get that traffic as well. Guest posting to get links. So what we've talked about here is, people we know, and it's easy to approach people we know. So hopefully from this effort, we've managed to get maybe 1 or 2 placements on people we know's websites as a guest author, as an expert on a certain area of your business. So I think people really underestimate themselves when it comes to how much they know about their profession or their industry. So this is why guest posts are actually a really, really popular SEO method of getting links to your website and getting additional awareness in the right places about your business. So website owners, so not necessarily business owners, but website owners that have publication type websites that are publishing content all the time, they're looking for interesting stories, ideas, angles all the time to publish. The more content they get, and if you can provide it for free, the even more happier they are. So if you can help them writing, they get a free piece of content, and in exchange, you get a link back to your website. Worst case scenario, you get a link that says, Brett is from Digital Treasury, and it says Digital Treasury is hyperlinked, and that link goes to my homepage. You still get benefit from doing that. Ideally, within your content somewhere, you mention your keyword you want to rank for, and you link it to that page or a variation of that keyword. So there's websites that are literally looking for this. So what you have to do is to find guest post opportunities is you need to go to Google and search for "write for us" in inverted commas, and then add in your topic. So whether that is certain consulting, certain product names, what is your industry? If you type that in, can someone put in the chat? I'll do it live for us now just to show you how this works. But can someone put into the chat what industry or what area they're in? First person to put this in the chat, and I'll do it live if you're comfortable. And I'll show you how to do this process. But what we want to do is we want to find opportunities of different websites to write for. We want to check those websites and see what their guidelines are like. And then we want to email them a pitch of an idea for content. So we want to pitch something unique, and we want to write an interesting email to them. So in this example here, it could be something like, hi, and whatever their name is. Make sure you find their name from their website. Make a comment that is unique. So I noticed, and something unique about their website, their content, their something you've seen on their social media profile. You want to say something that shows that you are that you actually have understand who they are, and you're not a spammy sort of email that's sending out thousands of these per day. Tell them who you are and what expertise you have, and then ask them if you can write an article for them and tell them what that article's about. The other thing I like to do is here's the title I was thinking of, and here's what I was thinking, and give them a rough outline of what the article might be about. All right, so I can see from the chat we've had 6 people come through, so thanks very much to those of you. I think Hong was the first one. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to type in "write for us" in inverted commas, and then I'm going to type in "town planning." Oh, whoops, hang on. So, "write for us, town planning." Okay, so this one's actually from a Facebook group, which I actually haven't seen before. Child in the city. So what we're going to do, we're going to look through these examples and see if any of these might be appropriate for us to contribute a piece to. So I haven't seen this before, I must say, but this article here was saying it had a "write for us" area. I like to Control F to find "write for us, planning insights." Planning Insights would be pleased to welcome students, professionals, research scholars, and academians, sorry, it's a bit small to read, to provide new insights on new ideas, innovation, thoughts and suggestions, research works and facts relating to town and country planning in India. Okay, so that's probably out of the scope of what you do, Hong, if you're in Australia. But you can see how this would be a relevant opportunity if you were someone in India. And then they're saying, send an email here with your content, basically. Let's see another page that I pulled up. So this is mypropertytools.com.au. There's an article here called The Benefits of Engaging with a Town Planner. And I can see this links to verisys.com.au's town planning service. So that's a good sign. And then if I scroll down, I can't see Right For Us anywhere. So if I just Control F. And if I just type into my search Right For Us in the search, and then it's told me that Right For Us is here. And it says, if you're interested in writing for us, please let us know. So you can see here, it hyperlinks to an email, which is support@mypropertytools.com.au, and it says, subject, I would like to write for you. So all you would need to do is just say, hello, I saw that you're accepting posts. My name is Hong and I'm a town planner in Melbourne, and I was thinking of contributing an article called, 5 tips for town planning in Melbourne, or everything you need to know about town planning, something along those lines. And you would submit your suggested idea to them. Let's try one more example. So Helen had dog-friendly. Congratulations, Helen. You were second fastest. So Helen had dog-friendly wine tours. So Adelaide Mums Group has a pet-friendly wineries in Adelaide. This one probably won't be relevant to you, Helen, assuming that you're in Victoria. So we'll skip over that one. Brisbane Kids, again, probably won't be relevant to you. Visit Tumut, probably not. I'm thinking dog-friendly wine tours may be a little bit too specific. So why don't we just do dog-friendly as a topic, which you know about, Helen? Helen just said, I've searched for Right For Us Dog Melbourne, and there's some great ones. Perfect. So here's one here, dogsofaustralia.com.au. I'm not sure if that came up for... Oh, Suzanne says, hey, Helen, you can write for us. There you go. You've just done networking and you've just done link building. Well done, Susan. Great offer. So I'm on the Dogs Australia website, and I'm not sure why it's grey at the moment. Maybe a pop-up's trying to launch or something. But assuming this website is working, it looks like they say here, at Dogs Australia, it's a bit faint, I'm sorry about that. At Dogs Australia, our goal is to educate and inspire our readers by sharing high-quality content that's not boring to read. If you have an idea for a piece of content you would like to see on our site, we'd like to hear from you. All right, here's how to submit. Name, email, state, website URL. Are you a writer? Yes. What would you like to share? So I'd say, hey, my name's Helen. I run dog-friendly wine tours in the wine regions of Melbourne, and I would love to share a post about the day in the life of a dog on a wine tour, for example. So, this would be interesting content to these writers. So I'd be really surprised if they rejected it. I'm sure it's very unique compared to anything they've got on their website at the moment. So, and you could also, the other thing you could do, you could search their website and see what other content they had relating to dog-friendly guides. But you can see, so that's just one opportunity. There's one in the UK. I wouldn't put, just because it is in a different city or country doesn't mean you should rule it out, because they can be very strong links as well, and they'll still help boost your website in Google. Like traveling with a dog might be a cool one, because you're actually providing, if there's people that are traveling from around the world with a dog and they want to come to Melbourne, for example, your tour might be a really good idea for these people. So again, just look at their requirements. When you post, you will receive a backlink to one of your own blog posts. Perfect. They want content that is 800 words plus on unique subjects. Perfect. So you just come up with a pitch, and you can be a featured contributor. They promote it on their social media too. So let's check their social media. Do they have many followers? Traveling with a dog. So they've only got 200 followers, so it's not that appealing. Yeah. So that is how you find a right for us page and somewhere to contribute your thoughts. Is there any questions on finding opportunities to do guest posts or about guest posting on other websites to get links? Do you have any questions? I want to drop them in the chat. Hong says, can we submit the same or very similar articles to various Write For Us pages? No, you do them 100% unique, Hong. So you definitely want unique content, and website owners aren't going to want the same thing that you've published in other places. So yeah, you definitely want to do unique where you can. And in terms of, one thing I didn't mention, in terms of actually finding their email address, usually it's on a contact page, or usually they have a contact form. So just figure out, what their contact details are and pitch them that way with your content idea. Now, from the previous lesson, I talked about creating a really good resource or a really substantial piece of content. So I'm not talking about an 800-word blog post. I'm talking about something that's really unique, and it's, maybe it's like the ultimate guide to your industry. So for Hong, it could be, the ultimate guide to town planning. So what you've actually done there is you've created a really great piece of content for the whole internet to benefit from. And what you should do is you should actually, off the back of that, make sure that the piece of content that you've written is, substantial. So for example, on my website, I have, if you Google search SEO Australia, my article, How to Perform SEO in Australia with Free Tools, is coming up usually top 5 somewhere. This is just in my browser, so it's going to come up higher. But this piece of content is, mega long. It's about 6,000 words, and it's got all sorts of different pictures and all sorts of screenshots to show you how to do the different steps that I talk about within the content. This is almost 6,000 words. So this is a really super detailed piece of content that talks to SEO and I guess in my view explains the whole SEO process really well. So the ultimate guide to dog-friendly wine tours could be a piece of content that Susie might create on her website. And then when Susie goes out and talks about it, she could either link from the guest post, but a lot of people have on their web pages resources. So remember, people have like useful links pages, or they have resource pages. So what you can do is you can go into Google and search for, dog-friendly resource pages, dog-friendly useful links, dog-friendly in URL resources. And what it'll come up with is a whole stack of dog-friendly resources. So, and maybe you want to put in dog-friendly tours resource pages and find all the pages that talk about dog-friendly tours. Then you want to follow a similar process, and you want to find the contact details on the website of that actual person, and then you want to send them an email. Now, often when people have resource pages, is they don't keep them up to date, and website pages become broken and the links don't work anymore. So if you find a website that has a resource page and some of those links are broken, this is actually like a nice way to sort of go out to people you don't know and sort of say, I was on your resource page and I noticed you had a broken link. I actually spent the last 4 weeks writing a 6,000 word guide to SEO for small business owners. Would you consider, putting my link in there in place of the one that's currently broken? If you can't find a broken link, then you can just go out with something like, I saw you've got a resource page. I just spent all this time doing this, amazing guide. I thought it might be worthy of inclusion in your list. If you're interested, you can have a look at the piece here, right? So you want to approaching the website owners with a link. These are really hard to get, these links, if you've got a super commercial piece of content. If it's like really salesy and trying to sell people, it's really tough to get resource links. If it's much more sort of value-driven educational piece of content, it'll do too much. It'll get rejected by a lot of people. So yeah, just keep that in mind. Mentions. So mentions that are not linked. So have people talked about your company in the past? Did they link to your website when they talked about you, or did they just talk about your brand with the text? So what you need to do is you need to find mentions of your business name by searching for your exact brand name. So for example, Digital Treasury, finding websites that are actually talking about you, and then email them and ask for a link for attribution purposes where they're not linking to you. So can someone give me what their brand name is? I think one was Cool Clutch. Is that right? Is that Suzanne? Suzanne, is that you, Cool Clutch? Suzanne wins for offering someone a guest post. So we've got Cool Clutch. Cool Clutch handbag. So what I would do with your brand name, Suzanne, I would type in, and I don't know if you've been mentioned ever before, but what I would do, so you are a fashion accessory shop in New Gisborne. So what I would do is I'd put your brand name and I'd put it in inverted commas. And then what I would do is I would look through. I won't click any of your ads, it's okay. I would click through and see other pages other than your website and check if people are linking to you. So this this might be another store maybe. And then I'm not sure is this your brand, Suzanne? Susanna, is this your brand on another web page? So if this was, so that's one of your retailers. So maybe within this website, Suzanne, and this might have already come into your head from your thinking around my suggestion with the manufacturers and suppliers. So what you can do is you can ask them to include a link from their website to yours. So it looks like they've got a brands at Be Me page. So our brands. So are you on the Our Brands page? Exclusive. If I just type in Cool Clutch, it doesn't look like you're on their brand page. So I would be asking them to add you to the brands page and add a link to your website. What else have we got? So we got your Facebook page. Hopefully you've got your link on your Facebook page. I'm sure you do. Yep. So you got your link there. Perfect. Etsy. I don't think Etsy lets you have a link. Premier's Design Awards. Okay, here we go. So you got a design award, which is amazing. Well done. Perfect. So it looks like they didn't hyperlink coolclutch.net.au. Sorry if that's a bit small. So on this page here, I'll just put it in the chat for you, Susie. They didn't hyperlink. It says full range of products here at coolclutch.net.au, but it's not actually a hyperlink. I can't click on that. You've got a link to your YouTube video, which is good. That's going to be helping that YouTube video rank, but it'd be even better if you could get a hyperlink to there. So what I would do is I would go to, I don't know, maybe you have a contact here, but I would just fill out, if you don't, I would fill in the inquiry form and say, oh, hey, it's Susie from Cool Clutch here. I just noticed that you mentioned my brand and you forgot to hyperlink my website in the description. Can you please update it to and send them the URL link where you want it to point to? So then what you're doing is you're solidifying that mention of your brand by getting the link. And I'm guessing the premiersdesignawards.com.au is going to be a pretty powerful link if it's a government website. All right. Does anyone have any questions on mentions and making sure that you're solidifying your mentions of your business by actually backing them up and getting a link from it and getting that trust and getting the flow back to your business and getting the attribution? Do we have any questions on that section? All right, if there's no questions, if there is, just put them in the chat and I'll get to them. I want to talk through a more advanced strategy. So if you go and do everything we've talked about, you're probably ahead of most small businesses. I don't see many small businesses doing those steps that we've talked about. But if you get to that point and you're still not ranking for the keywords that you want to be, then you need to use a more advanced SEO backlink strategy, which is stealing your competitors' links. Okay? So what you do for this is you need to look for your competitors that you notice that always seems to come up ahead of you. So everyone will know who this person is in their industry. So if you type in, your product names or the type of products, or if you type in the type of services, maybe in your area, you'll probably see that like one or two businesses continually come up. So in this link building strategy, what you're basically trying to do is you check what links those businesses have pointing to them. And then you want to go and try and replicate those links. So you want to go look at those links and see what type of link it is. Is it a directory listing? Is it maybe a guest post? Is it their own article where they reference your competitor as a source of information? Is it a resource page where they've got a list of different businesses in the area? And then I would try and approach the website owner, trying to replicate whatever type of link they have. So if it's a directory listing, hopefully it's an easy to find add your business type scenario. If it is a guest post, think of a better guest post and pitch them that idea of your guest post with an outline. If it's maybe their own article, maybe you need to write a more up-to-date piece of content that they can link to. So the first step we need to take is we need to go to a website, and I'll drop this in the chat right now. And it's called ahrefs.com/backlink checker. And what that does is you can check the links that your competitors have. So what I've done here is I've gone to the backlink profile. So I just searched for like Melbourne painting, and this website called melbourne-painters.com.au came up, and it showed me this. I'll just zoom in. Oh, you can't quite see it, but this is a list of the top 10 links from their webpage. So if you all go and open that ahrefs.com backlink checker, and then if you enter in your competitor's URL, you'll get this list which has all the backlinks that are pointing to their website. So it gives you the top 100 backlinks. You can see a few numbers here, and one is called DR, and this is an Ahrefs metric called domain rating, which is trying to get the domain. It's trying to give like a score out of 100 to how strong that domain is. So you can see here they managed to get on finder.com.au. They're also on dlook.com.au, which I know is a online directory. So all I'd need to do would be to go onto DLook and add my own business as a painting company that's in Melbourne. Hong said, how did you get the backlink profile for Melbourne painters again? So Hong, all you need to do is go to that link that I dropped in the chat, aerefs.com/backlink checker, and then enter the URL of the competitor that you notice comes up a lot. The next link here is mama.com, which is group questions and answers. So that sounds like a Quora style web page. So perhaps we would just need to go in there and add our own question in there and leave our link. So this is the DLook. When I follow that link from that list, this is what their DLook listing looks like. So you can see in the red circle that's got a link to their website, which is giving them that link or that trust or that authority to their webpage. Another one that I found on their links was from lendalone.com.au, and this was some sort of loan financing company, but they seem to have added in a link to house painters on there. So maybe we could approach them to ask them to change that link, or maybe we could approach them to add our own guest post on maybe how house painting can add value to your home, for example. So does anyone, the first person to put a competitor in to the chat, and we'll have a look at that live for you now. So this is what Ahrefs backlink checker looks like when you type that into your search result. Who's that competitor that you always see in your coming up in searches that you want to rank for? Drop it in the chat and we'll let you know. Hong, you're disqualified for putting in market assessment. I want the URL of your competitor that you notice coming up all the time for keywords that you want to rank for. We've all got that one competitor that we keep on seeing when we're looking around and doing our keyword research. Suzanne, Lewin Hyde, that's not quite a URL. There we go. Aldona has done davidbaileyphotography.net. Okay, let's check out David Bailey Photography. So this is your competitor, Aldona? Okay, so let's just have a quick look at this competitor of Aldona's, which is davidbaileyphotography.net. So we can see here, incredible Ballarat and Great Victoria photography. I specialize in portraiture, Bolger, wedding, and much, much more. I'm a Ballarat photographer. I look like that guy. And there's the work, and then he's got pretty consistent blogs. So you also want to be looking at, like, on page, what's this guy doing too. So then what I do is I go up to the top here and I copy that URL and I click check backlinks here. And I confirm I'm not a robot. All right, so you can see this web page has 26 domains linking to him with 52 backlinks. So that can mean that, there might be 2 links from each domain. So for example here, his strongest link is from easyweddings.com.au and he's added an article. So top 10 picks for Ballarat wedding photographers. Ethan, 1 point, David Bailey, photo design, Bilbo. All right, so there's a whole list of different photographers. So what I would do is I would contact Easy Weddings if it lets me, and their stupid website stops preloading. If I go contact, us down the bottom here, and it's saying feedback and website queries. So they've got specific contact details on the right here for feedback and website queries. So I'd grab this email here Aldona, and I would email it@easyweddings.com.au, and I would say, hey, I noticed you have a great article about the top 20 picks for Ballarat wedding photographers, but I noticed that you didn't include me. If I write a short, well, they seem to have a listing as well. If I write a short description, can you add my business in there? It's a paid service, but yes, I get it. Okay. So, but this link might be giving him credibility. What else have we got? starnow.com.au. I don't know what that is or means. Oh, so this dude's a influencer as well. So I don't know if is this a paid directory or what the story is. But again, I would see if I could, no acting experience, but he's got his photography experience in here. So I'm not sure how this website works. About us, work for us. How does StarNow work? You can list an audition or a job for free. So you can seem to be able to list yourself as a talent. Yeah, so these links are all helping build that credibility. We've got another one here, photographers.com.au. It looks like some sort of listing page, and he's got a whole stack of his portfolio in here. Become a member, list your business. Again, I don't know if this is paid or not. You can get a free profile. See if the free profile gives you a link back to your website, and go and add yourself to that. So you can see here, you need to go and chip away at all these different links. Old Ballarat, I'm not sure what this is, some sort of local Ballarat festival or something, so I'm not sure if you can get added to this. Wedding.com.au. So you can see from this, there's a whole heap of different things you can go through Aldona. Let's see if there's another one I can help in here. So Susan has said Lou and Hyde. So let's check that one out. So I'll just copy that URL in just to make sure I get the right address. So Lou and Hyde, all right. So it's like some sort of bag shop by the look of things. Cool. All right. So if I go back in here and I change my URL and click on check backlinks, I am not a robot. You can see, all right, 143 different websites are talking about her with 2,300 backlinks. I don't stress about the backlinks number, more worried about the number of referring domains. And of course, you can put in your own website here, right? And see what links you actually already have to see how far away you are. So furniture stores that offer Afterpay. So Finder has a page dedicated to that. So let's have a look at that. So they've got a whole list of here, right? So what you could do is you could contact finder.com.au and say, let's look at contact us, head of PR, head of client services. Maybe in an editorial type section. Start chatting with our team. Media room, maybe the media team. I'll try and find some sort of contact detail for Finder. Maybe it's in partner, but maybe I would send an email to this team and say, oh, hey, I wasn't sure who to contact, but I was wondering what I need to do, who I need to speak to get my furniture store added to this list. And even if maybe you don't have a furniture store. Shop and friends, I'm not sure what that is, but you can see here the domain rating is quite low, 3 out of 100. So it's probably not really worthwhile getting onto. Mumbrella. So mumbrella.com.au, let's have a look at this. You can see here it says Deanne in blue. So that's the link text. So if I search Deanne in this article, it looks like she left a comment, and that comment gets her like a no follow link. But she's left like a good, a nice like value add piece of comment to this article in Mumbrella, which is going to help a little bit as well. So what else have we got here? Neo Post. I'm not sure what that is. Is that like some sort of overseas post? Okay, you can see here she's managed to get featured in news.com.au. So like an 80 strength website is really, really high. So trying to replicate that link is going to be tough. Essential Baby, it looks like there was a forum discussion around her handbag or recommendations for a handbag, and there's a link dropped in there. So you would have to go into that forum, create a profile, and go and add your link in there. Probably don't do it as yourself, by the way. 10times.com Kids in Style exhibitors. I'm not sure what this is, but was there some sort of conference or some sort of exhibition held earlier this year where they were a part of? So I don't know if you go to trade shows, do you have something similar, or maybe there's something you should look at going to next year if you can. You can see they've got a white pages listing. So we know what to do with white pages. We just go on there. Starts at 60 is a blog for older people that are over 60, and they've managed to get an article linking in there. So I'm not sure how they did it. Maybe they paid them to have that article in there. I'm not sure. So what I'm suggesting people do is just run these from a couple of different competitors and start chipping away and start flicking through to find those links that your competitors have and match them. So you want to be at least matching your competitors, and then you want to be beating them eventually, and doing that with more directory listings or more guest posts opportunities for your business. So in terms of today's training, what we've chatted about, you need to build links to your business website to gain trust in Google's eyes to help your website rank. So you want to get the foundation links first. So if you're eligible, get a Google My Business page and the map and the Bing pages. Also add yourself to directories, both the common ones and niche and local directories. And then add your website to a couple of social media profiles as well to get that footprint, to get those initial links. Then try and get links. So we sort of start off on the easy links to get. Then you need to get links from people you know. So those people in your network already, and approach them for those, either mentioning your business or approach them to provide content for them. Then I'd move on to the more advanced strategies where we talked about with guest posts to websites where we're not aware of. And if we have that really great piece of content that is actually resource worthy, finding those pages that have, useful links or resource pages to try to build links that way to those pieces of content. And then once we've done all that, look at our competitors, see what links are driving the authority in Google's eyes to them, and then slowly chip away at building and replicating the links that your competitors already have. And the last thing I'll leave you with is, if you do none of this, your ranking will not improve. So if you can't be bothered fixing your technicals, if you don't do your keyword research, if you don't publish new and good content that talks to that keyword research, and if you don't build links, your ranking's not going to improve. So I've told you I've instructed you step by step how to do it. Now it's up to you to go and actually implement this for your business. So this is the end of our 3-part series on SEO. So I'm really interested to hear what your questions are, or if you had any feedback, or if you had any questions about today, or if you had any questions even about the previous sessions. There's quite a few people online today, so you've been really, really engaged in the chat, which has been great for me. So I know you're listening, so hit me up with any questions that you have. If you're embarrassed to ask the question, you can ask it in private and I won't read out your name. If I forget and I read out your name, I apologize. Also for today, we need you to fill in the a survey form. Francisco from ASBAS, do you have that form to drop into the chat? Could you do that now? Oh, there it is at the top. I'll do it. Here we go. Paste, go. If everyone could complete that survey, that'd be great. Otherwise, you'll get a nasty call from Roxana. Helen's off to implement everything before you forget. Absolutely implement. Otherwise, nothing will happen. Learning something's one thing, but you've got to go and implement it, or at least try to. And where you have trouble, let's chat about it in your mentoring session. But open to any questions now. If you want more information on SEO, there's heaps of information on my blog. You can just find it by Googling Digital Treasury blog, or you can follow me on LinkedIn just by looking for Brett Melville. And I post tips on LinkedIn every now and then for my followers. Kylie says, thank you, very helpful. No worries, Kylie. Aldona says, I've had my domain for more than 13 years. I've had some less positive experiences with negative backlinks. Some time ago, I submitted my website to a directory which essentially created a lot of spam links. Yes, that was very popular a long time ago. So not all directories are created equally. That's why I'd sort of stick to those top, more authoritative directories, Aldona. Marl says, sorry, I logged pretty late. Does the SEO strategy can apply to solo operations and freelance businesses like design? Absolutely. I guess the question, Marl, is like, do people look for freelance workers via Google search? And I would say absolutely yes. Whether they're looking at what business are you in, Marl? Are you a graphic designer or a photographer? So definitely people will be looking for freelance, photographers in your area, or freelance writers or graphic designers, or whatever it is that you do. Like design. Definitely, Marl. Definitely, I would be creating content talking around you being a freelance, whatever type of designer you are in your area. Hong says, how about Bing Maps? So yeah, Bing Maps was one of my suggestions. Hong is generated by what's called Bing Places. So if you look for Bing Places or Bing Business, you should be able to find that area to modify that listing. Anna says, another great webinar. I really enjoyed this series and I'm actively working on implementing this. Great to have the order in which we should prioritize the action points at the end. No worries. I'll just go back to those action points in case anyone else wants to see them. Trevor says, great presentation and very interesting. Thanks. Heather says, that was great, Brett. Thank you. Really practical info. So Marlo's a UX designer. So if I was you, I would be trying to rank for freelance UX designer. I'm not sure where you are, Marl, but like Melbourne or whatever region you're in. So I would start with suburb, and then I would have another page for region, and then I would have another page for city. So like Melbourne or Geelong or Bendigo, and then why not have a go at state, and then why not have a go at Australia eventually? So yeah, definitely worthwhile for a freelance business to be ranking. So like Marl, imagine what it would mean if you were, if you ranked for, if people came into Google and the UX designer, not X designer, UX designer Melbourne, and we want freelance UX designer Melbourne. So the first thing you'll notice is Upwork comes up. So is it worth you adding yourself to Upwork? Probably. It's going to be a great place for you to start, to list yourself as a Melbourne person that does UX design. Jess, this person has UX, UI, and product designer in Melbourne in their title. You can see UX designer Melbourne in the title. UX designer Melbourne in the title, right? Jonathan Pike. Hong says, agree with Anna. Brett runs excellent webinar. This is my 5th. Oh, dear. Still coming back for more, Hong. Is there any questions on today's presentations around building links or stalking your competitors to find their links, maybe? Got a few more minutes if you want to ask any questions, so just pop them in the chat. Happy to answer any questions you have. But if there's no more questions, I will remind you to fill in the survey form. I'll drop that in the chat again. And if you could just please complete that, that'd be great. Eldona says, I agree, great resource and plenty on my list. That's what everyone says after my workshops. I've got plenty on my list now. That's good. If you've got a list, you typically get things done, I find. No more questions. Can't see any coming through. I'll give you 1 more minute to ask any questions you have. Otherwise, I'll wrap up. But thanks so much for all the chat today. It's been really, really good. And yeah, I'm keen to see what people can rank for after this training. So, let me know how you go if you end up achieving your goals and ranking for one of those keywords that you found. Let me know. Helen says, do backlinks cancel each other out, i.e. if each website refers to each other? So it's not as strong if you refer to one website and that website refers to you, but it's still fine. These are called reciprocal links. So you don't want too many of these, but it is okay to have them. So I would suggest linking to different sections of the web page. So don't both link to each other's homepage. Perhaps leave them, perhaps link to like different blog posts on the web page or different service pages. Miles says, I'll join your workshop. How soon can we get the replay for this? Sounds very informative. That's a Francisco question. How quickly are you going to have this uploaded up, Francisco? Pressure's on, buddy. Francisco's usually 1 to 2 weeks, I think, in terms of getting the replays loaded. Suzanne says, do links out from your website to help others? I think you mean, do links out from your website help others? Yes, they do. But they also help Google understand the topic of your web page. So by linking out to a web page that's already high authority is going to help Google understand the content of your website page that you've built. So, for example, my SEO in Australia page mentions many different SEO tools that are relevant to SEO. So that helps Google understand that the article's about SEO. If you have more than one website, how best to build links? Well, you can link one to the other, and I would build links to both. Suzanne says, should I add website links to all my wholesale customers in my store locator? Why not? Miles says, I've heard using platforms like Wix affects SEO. Is that true? Studies I've seen do show there is a difference in SEO between platforms, but it's hard to really know if it's the platform or if it's the actual average user of that platform. So maybe the average user of WordPress is more technically savvy than someone using Wix, for example. So maybe they're optimizing it better. Helen says, I'm more than happy to write on anyone's website and vice versa if it is relevant to me. Send an email to info@poochesandpino.com.au. There you go, everybody. If you're looking for some content and some relationships, if you're in the dog or pet or wine niche, check out Helen's website and see if you've got an appropriate pitch for her. Suzanne is emailing, Helen is emailing Suzanne right now. Great stuff, everybody. Taking action straight away, building a network. Building links. I love it. Doesn't look like there's any more questions. So as mentioned, I am one of the mentors. So if you do want to book in a session with me and chat about SEO or building links, feel free to do that from the portal. But thanks so much for everyone. I think the questions are sort of dried out now, but thank you so much for turning up today and making this a great session. And you'll get the video replay and the slides from this over the next week from ASBAS, Francisco and the ASBAS team. So thanks very much, everybody. And yeah, have a good rest of the day. See ya.